Hello, my name is Josh. I go by All About Code and EduBlocks on Twitter, and edublocks.org is my website if you'd like to find out about more things that I will be going through in this talk. So let's do a quick show of hands. So who's heard of EduBlocks before? So quite a few people. That's good. Today I'm going to be talking from like a UK perspective and how programming is taught in schools in the UK. So in the UK, we start off with Scratch because Scratch is awesome. And that is introduced to what we call Year 3. So Year 3 is 7 to 8-year-olds. And for people to use Scratch, it only depends on reading skills of kids. So if you're using Scratch Junior, it's all icon based. But if you're doing Scratch, all you have to know is basic reading skills. So Python. So after we've done Scratch, we move on to Python. So Python is introduced to Year 8 kids, and that's 12 to 13-year-olds. And by this time, they've used Scratch for around 5 or so years. And most of these kids want to move on to more advanced programming. So more advanced programming is text-based programming languages, where they actually have to type the code, because Scratch is kind of like, I don't want to say outdated, but it's kind of like they want to move on to like the real world kind of stuff. So why don't we introduce Python earlier? So there are 3 main reasons why we don't do this. So the first one is that most kids have a lack of typing skills. So as we are all developers in here, I'm sure everyone has made a syntax error before. It can sometimes get frustrating. To kids, they just want to give up as soon as they see an error. So a lack of typing skills is a real problem when we're trying to teach kids how to use text-based programming languages. Teacher training in the UK is lacking. So in 2014, a new computing curriculum was brought out, but the government actually forgot to train the teachers, which is a bit of a problem. And they only actually realized that they needed to train the teachers 4 years after they released this new curriculum, and they kind of looked and said, oh, we need to do something about this. There's this whole idea that Python is too scary for younger kids. So you put Python in front of a younger kid and they're like, oh no, I don't know what to do with this. But you put Scratch in front of them, you got nice colorful blocks that can make the cat move 10 steps. It's quite easy to do. So how can we solve this? So this is my solution. We could build a tool that has a Scratch-like interface for Python and something that does not require training. So the teachers don't actually have to be trained to use it, and it requires no complex typing skills. Where will this said program fit in? So this is not going to be a replacement for Scratch or MakeCode. It simply is the transitioning step between Scratch and Python and MakeCode and Python. So it kind of goes in between the middle. So this is my solution. This is EduBlocks. So a quick rundown of what EduBlocks actually is, if you've not heard of it before. EduBlocks is a drag and drop version of Python 3. So you have blocks like in Scratch and MakeCode, and you drag them into the workspace. But the cool thing about EduBlocks is you've got the Python text on the actual blocks. So the kids are actually learning Python as they're going along, but they still kind of got that nice, colorful Lego tower block system. It's an easy way to learn the Python C syntax. So you can still make syntax errors, but you kind of have an easy introduction into learning Python. So when you actually get given the Python text editor, you're not as scared as you would have been if you hadn't have learned Python this way. It's an educational tool for younger kids. So Python is actually being brought down on the curriculum in the UK, but the problem is that these kids have no typing skills, and that is proving to be a real problem. So this way, they can still learn Python, but they have a much easier tool to learn it. It's also a platform for educators. So we mentioned before that educators don't really have the training that they need. So in the UK, 2 months ago, the government found out that computer science is a mandatory subject, but 58% of schools weren't teaching it because they actually have no teachers to teach the subject. So it's a platform for educators to kind of help them deliver the curriculum. Is EduBlocks just another block platform? No, it's not. So you have the Python code on the blocks, as you can see. Who's familiar with Python? Is everyone familiar with it? Yeah. So you can see that that's how Python would be. Once you have actually coded your blocks, you can click a button and you get the Python file just as if you had written it. And you can click a button in the top right-hand corner and you get a text editor, just like you normally would if you were typing Python. And that's just with the click of a button. What does EduBlocks work on currently? So it currently works on 2 platforms that are a stable release. So there's the Raspberry Pi version, which it started off as. I'm sure you all know about the Raspberry Pi. And the BBC Microbit that we all had a go in Sam's talk. And that can be accessed via a launcher at that web address there. Let's talk about the Raspberry Pi version. So there are 4 things that I'd like to kind of give you a rundown of. So it teaches basic Python programming. So there's the basic Python features in EduBlocks. You can program with Minecraft because absolutely every kid loves to program with Minecraft. You can do physical computing, so plug LEDs and buttons in. And that's a joke if you're in the Python community because everyone hates Python too. So yeah, it runs Python 3. So let's do a very quick demo. So let's check this is running yet. So if we go into Chrome, so just a basic demo. So you can, it's not this laggy in real life. So you can scroll down, get a print statement there. Just do hello world. Get a time function, and then wait for 1 second. So you can click that button there, and then you get the Python text editor, and you can click run, and hopefully it will run as if you were just running it in Python there. So it's nice and simple for kids to use. Let's go back to the presentation. So we can skip that demo. That was basically just showing it on a add-on board, but you can see that at the demo table in a minute. The BBC Microbit, so things that this can do. So you can control the onboard features, so like the accelerometer, the display. You can build wearable projects. So the little edge connection at the bottom has some holes that you can sew into like a bag and build a wearable project. You can do physical computing as well, and it runs MicroPython, which is like a small version of Python. So this is a quick demo. You drag and drop the blocks before, but this is all running in the web browser. So as with the Raspberry Pi version, where you had to download it as a program, this runs just like MakeCode in the browser. So hopefully I'm going to add web USB support, which maybe would add like live programming like with Scratch. So you download the hex file, so that's like got the firmware and the binary stuff for Python, and then that simply flashes onto the board. Takes about 10 seconds as it would normally do, and then you should see it scrolling on the display there. So it's nice and simple. So how does EduBlocks run? It's slightly complicated because it's a bit of a hack, the whole system, but it works, and the end user can't see all the bad code behind it. So you have your Blockly platform here, and then that gets generated using the Python generator in Blockly, and that then gets sent to a Node.js server, which kind of emulates Python. And then the end user has what we call an IPython terminal, which is basically just idle in the web browser. So it's nice and simple. How does releases work? So I commit to GitHub, and then when I'm happy that there's enough features to kind of have a release, it will then get sent for everyone to download on the one-line installer there. EduBlocks is used in 104 countries worldwide, and it's mainly used by schools because it is an educational platform, and there are completely free resources on the website for anyone to download. So if you'd like to take a look at them, then you can do. These were an idea that one of the kids at the like coding club I help at had, where you have the same code in Scratch, EduBlocks, and Python to kind of show the transition steps between the three. And they seem to be really, really popular in schools. I have got a microbit set where it shows MakeCode, EduBlocks, and Python, but I haven't quite finished them yet. What is next? So a really common feature request is, can we have Scratch blocks or EduBlocks to kind of make it look more Scratch-like? Well, I made a proof of concept, and apparently you can. So that should be coming soon. And also the Adafruit Circuit Playground Express. You can also use that. If you want to have a go with that, it's adafruit.edublocks.org, and that should be coming soon as well. How do you contribute? So it's all open source on GitHub. If you'd like to contribute, I'd really like you to contribute, because I don't really have much time to commit to this, because obviously I'm still in school. So you can make extensions for the microbit editor. You can add libraries for the Raspberry Pi. You can create learning resources, and it's all on GitHub if you'd like to contribute. So maybe tomorrow, if you'd like to have a go at contributing, there's really, really extensive 4,000-word guides on my blog on how to contribute. So it's quite easy to do. Obviously, because I'm still in school, EduBlocks is not free to kind of run. So I have to fund it out of my own money. So if you'd like to support me on Patreon, that would be greatly appreciated. So that can fund more resources and get it in more schools. If you'd like to get in touch, you can find my website at the top. You can email me, you can tweet me, or if you'd like to see me throughout the conference, I'm here on both days. Any questions?
Would you mind telling us how you personally got involved in this, and what was your story to getting to the point of maintaining this?
So I started learning Python because I was kind of told I needed to learn Python. So I didn't want to learn Python because it was too hard, because I was scared like most kids are. And I kind of thought that there must be an easier way to kind of get kids learning Python. So I knew JavaScript, HTML, CSS at the time, and someone showed me Blockly. So I thought, oh, let's build a tool that emulates Python, and it kind of just grew from there. It started as a Saturday project because I was bored, and now it's kind of taken over my whole life. So yeah, it just started from that, just a need for it, really.
I'm curious about the import statements at the top. Philosophically, I feel like that would be very frustrating for a student to get everything right but miss the import statement. How do you feel about that? Do you wrestle with that?
Yeah, so that's a good point. So the idea of EduBlocks is kind of not to abstract away from what Python is. So I have had suggestions in the past, why can't you detect if a block's added in the workspace and then say, oh, automatically add import time if there's a sleep block. It would be a good idea, but at the same time, it's kind of going against the whole ethos of the program of having it not abstract away from Python. It is something that I would like to see, but then again, it would be going against the whole point of it. But yeah, it's a good point.
Hey.
So I have a question. First of all, super impressive.
Thank you.
But my question is like, how many other people are working with you on this? Like those 1, 2, 3 cards.
Yeah.
Clearly those were designed, I hope not by you, because then you're like even more amazing than you seem. But like there should be a designer and then someone has to print them. Are you running like a whole enterprise?
All the resources are written by me, and the cards are written by me. I'm a very, very bad graphic designer, although it might not look like it from some of the stuff. But yeah, definitely that's the hardest part of the project. So EduBlocks is run by a team of 2 people. So the local event that I go to, there's a software developer, so if I stumble across something that I'd like to add in, but I don't know the correct code for it, there are software developers that kind of teach me but don't do it for me in a way. So they teach me the knowledge that I need to kind of pursue the features that I'd like to add in, because obviously I'm only 14 and I don't know everything. So yeah.
Yeah, this obviously isn't Scratch where anything goes. How do you deal with errors? How do you flag errors up? How do you make them not be completely frustrating to students?
So let's go into the demo. Where is it? So say I was to make an error, so swap out that print statement for that one with no speech marks, for example. So it would show you the error as if it was running in Python. Now, this isn't, of course, the most friendly way, but at the same time, that's kind of what you would see in Python. But obviously with the blocks, you kind of have less of a chance of making an error as if you were typing it. But definitely, I like to kind of develop a way to make errors more friendly. It is on the list of things that I'd like to kind of make easier, because that is kind of still a problem. So yeah, it's on the list of things to do, the very, very long list of things to do. Anyone else? Yeah.
I'm curious if you point your users or to other Python resources, and if you have specific resources that you like pointing them to, or you've distilled down like, oh, this kind of error means this in a more kid-friendly way.
Yeah. So as far as resources go, there are community resources like on, so if you basically just Google EduBlocks, you've got lots of resources there, and you've obviously got the ones on the website. So as far as resources go, I always try my best to link to resources that are community written from the website. So there's kind of like one place to go for that. As far as errors go, I'd quite like to have a system where it says, oh, you missed a speech mark, and then have some sort of link to kind of like troubleshoot how to fix it. So definitely kind of streamlining the error kind of system, it would have some sort of troubleshooting section there. But yeah, that would all come with redoing the error system.
Hey, so talking about continuing with the errors, have you considered using the built-in like help menu that that Blockly comes with? Because since it is a line-by-line execution, you could maybe see at what point does it error, and then if you right-click on it and say, "Oh, go here for help," and it might lead you to a page like, "Oh, this is a print statement," or something to that regard.
So if I just load up the window that I've just closed down, where is it? So on this library, for example, if you drag in a button block, you can actually right-click on that, click Help, and then it should, if I've coded it right, take you to the section which has all the documentation for the button commands. So it tells you how the button works, what you need to define, and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd like to have a better documentation because this is for the Python library and not for EduBlocks. But then again, it's a matter of time of doing that and stuff. But yeah, so I would like to make more use of the help section because I don't really make use of it as much as I could do at the minute. But yeah, that's the basis of how that works.
What do you enjoy most about this work? Like what gets you most excited?
So I run a lot of workshops around the UK and now across the world. So yeah, the most exciting thing for me is seeing the excitement of the kids using it and like in many of my workshops, kids have never ever seen coding before. Some of these kids even come in asking what a keyboard and mouse is because we kind of live in the age of like touchscreen devices and stuff. So the most exciting thing for me would be seeing those kids like really getting engaged with it and walking away and saying, oh yeah, I'd quite like to try this Python thing. That's kind of been the main excitement for me with all of this.
So I have a question. Has it come full circle? Does your school system now use EduBlocks to teach Python?
So a lot of schools are using it. So when I go to like events, there's like normally a lot of teachers who say, oh, we use this in school, and a lot of them say, oh, I didn't realize it was developed by a 14-year-old. So yeah, so there are a lot of schools using it. And the good thing about going to events is you get teachers' feedback. So like teachers saying, oh, it would be cool if this feature was added. So like with the, if we go to the microbit editor, for example, someone asked for the extensions feature. So we added that in. So you click an extension there, and you then have the block list there for a robot. So that was a feature that a teacher asked for. But the important thing with that was that it doesn't like kind of, what's the word, mess up the blocks that are already there. So it's kind of an optional thing. So the thing with like teachers and kids is to kind of have that space to like for it not to kind of go away from the main stuff, but to have the option to add stuff in. So it's not like messing up with what the end user is doing, if you kind of get what I mean. Yeah.
All right. I
So
think
it's important to kind of make those decisions of what to have as default and what not to have as default. That was kind of the main teacher request.